Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help. And King of Floors, your vinyl, laminate, and engineered flooring superstore.
Okay, it's Friday. All of today's guests on Friday are brought to you by Langley Chrysler. Get ready this spring with up to $10,500 off Ram Classic. We do a lot of business out there in Langley.
Absolutely.
OK Tire and Langley Chrysler. Whether you need a truck or Jeep to haul the family to sports or tow the boat to the lake, you can find it in store or online at langleychrysler.com. We got Matt? Okay. Joining us now from Sekeres and Price, the podcast, Sekeres and Price. It's Matt Sekeres, our old friend from 1040. How are you, sir?
Good morning, everybody. Great to finally be on your show.
What a beautiful picture. Can you see the TV, Matt, how good you look?
No, I am in a corner of my apartment trying to not disturb my better half who's working in the other corner of the apartment.
Why would you not be in the living room watching? Come on.
We have strict spatial boundaries in this apartment during Zoom calls. I tend to broadcast and be loud and can be disruptive, so I'm
that
trying
is true.
not to be for her. Yeah, Rick, come on. We're cut from the same cloth in that regard. It ain't quiet.
And you haven't got a 10,000 square foot mansion like Dollywall.
So
let's
whatever.
keep that in mind.
Yeah, whatever.
It's not like I can just hop the other side of the moat, Don, and do the hit from there.
No. Listen, we were supposed to be criticizing Dollywall, not me.
No.
No. I'm Team Ricky here.
Yes, thank you.
Man, you've gone on record several times during this woeful season as being somebody who's really on board with what the Canucks are doing these days.
Oh, yes, that's me. You've got me.
Well, who do you blame the most?
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're talking about this particular season, I think ownership had a huge hand in it. Mm-hmm. They basically punted on the season from the beginning, guys. They didn't show a whole lot of ambition or care about performing in this season. And a lot of that had to do with the financials and the pandemic, and I get that. But I think the fan base was really encouraged, really enthusiastic after that run in the bubble last year. And, here we are nearly a year later and a huge step backwards. And not only that, but the apathy is starting to set in.
Yes,
and what little chatter that is out there these days right now is anger directed at the organization. So we've hit some dark days here for Canucks sports and entertainment.
Who's more likely to return, Jim Benning or Travis Green?
I'm not sure either at this point. I think that's the one thing, guys, and Ricky, feel free to, edify me here with your sources. But I think over the last few days here, the conversation has changed from just the coach to a full house cleaning. I think that's now a realistic possibility. I don't think it was a month ago.
Matt, when you look at the front office, and we talked about this, and I still think that the best front office they ever had was with Pat Quinn. It was really rock solid. Mm-hmm. Do they need a president of hockey operations in your eyes, Matt? Like right now, go get a president that can oversee if you're going to keep Jim. Because if you're going to keep Jim, you better have a president oversee everything.
Yeah, so I see very little chance that Jim stays on in a subservient role. Like I think either Jim is the general manager going forward or he is not an employee of the Vancouver Canucks. It is quite odd to see somebody who rises to that level of the organization stay on in a different capacity. So I think this is either a betting in or betting out proposition. The other thing I think is the structure of that president of hockey operations with the general manager underneath him is something the Vancouver Canucks are now considering. And really, they haven't had that particular structure, guys, because if you remember, Gillis was president. I suppose they had it with Trevor. No, I should say.
They had it with Trevor.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I think that structure is in play. I also think, the president of the entire organization with the GM who reports to him, that structure could be in play here. So a two-pronged president, hockey, business ops sort of thing. But I think there's a lot of possibilities on the table right now, and I think the Aquilinis and their advisors are having a really big think about where the Vancouver Canucks are going to go next week and from there.
Oh boy, I agree with you there, Matt. Matt, you talk to a lot of people around the league. The feeling is the Canucks are right there with Buffalo and Arizona, and Ottawa is the worst run franchise in the National Hockey League. You get that feel too?
So I think that's one of the things that's driving this, Ricky,
Yeah.
is that the Vancouver Canucks and this ownership group, which, remember a decade ago they were being lauded as one of the best run franchises in sport.
Winning does
realizes,
that.
realizes the depths to which they have fallen. Realizes that now they have problems with agents and players, and first and foremost their customers. And of course they have to sell tickets here coming up soon for the first time in a while. So I think, all the losing piled up compared with some of the bad press, they went really deep with their cuts, letting go staff on the during the pandemic. And then, of course, things like the COVID outbreak this year that just reflected so poorly on them. They were on the ice twice with infected players. All of those chickens are coming home to roost right now, I think.
Matt, do you think, and you mentioned the options the Canucks might have if they were to make major changes, do you think Mike Gillis and or Lawrence Gilman would consider a return to the Vancouver organization?
I think the specter of Gillis and Gilman is going to be here for a long time. Number one, because they were pretty successful running the team when they were here. Number two, because Canuck Nation seems to have a great affinity for all its figures past and present. And number three, because I think there's a familiarity with this ownership group. And I think there are, there's a, how many great candidates could this ownership group get to right now?
That's it.
And
That's
convince
it.
to come here.
Yep.
Right? Like, I just think this ownership group is a little bit more limited in its influence and sway to be able to get the best of the best candidates to consider them right now. And part of the reason is autonomy, right? That you've had two separate hockey gurus here who in Linden and in Gillis, who have had their autonomy stepped on. And it certainly looks very much like, Jim Benning has been an agent of their influence over the last little while.
Too early for Roberto Luongo?
I don't think Roberto would leave South Florida right now.
That's
Ricky
it.
may know better than me. Like, I still think it's a family situation with Gina and the kids down there in Florida. And, of course, he just got into managing too, right, guys? Like, he's pretty thin on experience. Not that has stopped the Aquilinis before, because, of course, Gillis and Linden didn't have any, top job managerial experience in the NHL. But I think we're a little too soon for Roberto, yes.
And, Matt, we got a lot of texts coming in. Oh, go get John Davidson, go get Gorton. Here's the problem with Davidson. Davidson's not coming here for $1 million. He's not coming here for $2 million. And here's the other problem, Matt. Anybody coming in, remember Dean Lombardi was supposed to come here. The first thing these guys are going to do is call Trevor Linden and say, hey, Trevor, what happened to you? Hey, Trevor, what happened with you and the owner there? Well, that's going to be the first call these guys make.
Well, can the Aquilinis change, Matt?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, but that's the thing here, guys, is that whomever the Aquilinis would be interviewing for a general manager job, that candidate would be, by every same measure, interviewing them.
Yes.
To find out what kind of autonomy, what kind of power they will have, how much they'll have to be responsive to the whims of ownership. But that's the autonomy piece. Ricky, I do wonder whether the conversation right now is, okay, let's take a look at the money that we saved by letting all these people go over the last year. Granted, we still took a big loss. It's more about stemming the losses than it is actually about saving the money. And now, do we have to make investment, a capital in reconstructing this organization, not just the hockey upside, frankly, but the business upside now? So now are we willing to spend a little bit more cheese on the type of people and leaders who can help us get it done on the hockey and the business side of things here?
Mm-hmm. Well, they might have to overspend to get, like you say, Matt, to convince somebody to come to Vancouver. For people who don't know, how do they access Sekeres and Price?
SekeresandPrice.com. It streams daily from 3 to 6 p.m., or you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, usually about 6:30 or so in the evening. The whole show restreams on the website, sekeresandprice.com, from 6:30 onwards as well.
What went through
And
your...
Rick Dollywall is going to be on today at 4, Don.
Yeah, that's right. After my nap, I got to get a cat nap, and then I'm going to get up and go and do your show.
you know what? I don't think he's going to be able to make it.
I might not make it.
He's got a sore shoulder, Matt.
Matt, I got the jab the other day. It still hurts, Matt. Still hurts.
Oh, really? Are you okay, Rick? Any side effects? Did you miss any work?
He was supposed to golf today, and he can't golf.
I can't swing the arm. I can't swing.
Yeah. Well, Ricky, as you know, it's starting to get pretty heated up on the phone lines here with the Vancouver Canucks. Something tells me they have a busy week coming up here, my friend.
I think the next 10 days, Matt, are going to flip this town upside down if certain changes are made.
Yeah. Now, the drafts are coming up.
Either way you slice it. Yeah, either way you slice it, guys, I think the next few weeks for the Vancouver Canucks, critical time in casting in charting the course for where they're going from here.
I was going to ask you, Matt, before we go, what through your mind last week when what would have been 1040's 20th anniversary?
Well, we did a special commemoration show, Dawn, and we had a lot of guests on, and I know you guys had Barry on Monday, and it was so wonderful to hear Mac back on the air. Tons of emotions. Probably not the best question at the end of the interview because I could go on and on.
Yes, okay.
But just, really reflective of the memories and happy for the good times. I'm trying to put all the positive emotions front and center, Don.
Matt, you had Pratt on Friday, and I heard that he marked the occasion by leaving your studio.
He was never in our studio, but he's always welcome in our studio, as are you and Rick.
Yes.
All right.
And Ryan, for that matter. Yes.
Sekeres and Price. Matt, thanks so much for this.
Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful weekend.
You bet.